Welcome to Philosophy Unpacked. I'm Maya, and today we're diving into Seneca's Consolation to Polybius, a powerful Stoic text on grief and mortality. With me is David to explore these ancient insights.
Thanks, Maya. This text is fascinating because Seneca addresses universal human experiences through a distinctly Stoic lens. Let's start with his striking opening about permanence and impermanence.
Right. Seneca writes that cities and monuments of stone seem robust compared to human lives, but by nature's standards, they're perishable. He says, what made by mortal hands is immortal, questioning our assumptions about permanence.
He goes further, claiming that even the seven wonders of the world will one day be leveled to the ground. Nothing is everlasting, few things are long-lasting, everything with a beginning has an end. This cosmic perspective is meant to contextualize personal loss.
What's striking is his challenge to human arrogance. He asks who is so arrogantly and recklessly presumptuous as to want solely himself and his family to be exempted from the necessity imposed by nature, which summons everything to the same ending.
This leads to this central argument about grief itself. Seneca argues that grief serves no practical purpose. Your grief will do no good, and you will not want what is pointless to be prolonged. It's a harsh but logical Stoic position.
He emphasizes that the deceased was strong enough to bear the load, suggesting that if someone could handle life's burdens, we should trust they could handle death too. But then he shifts to the futility of fighting fate.
Exactly. We can go on accusing the fates, but we cannot alter them. They remain harsh and inexorable. No one can influence them by abuse, not by weeping, not by arguing this case. This is classic Stoic acceptance of what we cannot control.
His advice is practical. If it torments us without helping, we must set it aside immediately, and our minds must be rescued from empty comforts. He's advocating for rational emotional management.
Then Seneca provides a broader perspective on human suffering. He surveys the whole of humanity and finds abundant, constant grounds for tears everywhere. Poverty, ambition, fear of wealth, anxiety, work pressures, crowded social obligations.
He notes the paradox. This man grieves because he has children. This one because he has lost them. His conclusion is stark. Our tears will be exhausted sooner than our reasons for grieving.
There's dark humor in his observation that nature decided the first thing human beings do at their birth should be to cry, suggesting life itself is inherently difficult. He warns, there's nothing we should use more sparingly than what we need so frequently, referring to tears.
Seneca then shifts to social responsibility. He tells Polybius to give your brothers an example of how to bear bravely this injury that fortune has inflicted, and be both their comfort and their comforter.
This connects to his test of character, whether you can handle only favorable circumstances or can also face adverse ones like a man. It's about proving your philosophical commitments under pressure.
He emphasizes duty and service, describing how one person's wakefulness protects everyone else's sleep, and their hard work enables everyone else's leisure. This suggests our obligations to others continue despite personal loss.
Then comes his reframing technique. So long as he is unharmed, your relatives are safe and sound. You have lost nothing. He's arguing that if the living are well, we should focus on gratitude rather than loss.
Seneca advocates for intellectual engagement. You must not allow any moment to be unoccupied by your studies. This isn't escapism, but active mental discipline to prevent dwelling on grief.
His most provocative argument involves reframing death as liberation. He asks us to consider what the deceased has missed out on versus what they're not afraid of: anger, disease, suspicion, envy, fear, fortune's fickleness.
He calculates that the dead person has been let off more than he has been deprived of. No wealth, influence, or social obligations, but also no anxiety about losing them. The person to whom good fortune is unnecessary is more blessed than the person who has it in his grasp.
This connects to his insight that safeguarding great prosperity is itself an anxious business. Life becomes a burden of constant worry about maintaining what we have.
His metaphor of life as a sea voyage is particularly powerful. We are thrown into this deep, restless sea whose tides flow back and forth, with constant tossing, occasional shipwreck, and perpetual fear. There is no harbor except that of death.
He emphasizes uncertainty. we can be certain of nothing, not even for the rest of today. This radical uncertainty should make us appreciate what we have, rather than mourn what we've lost.
Seneca reframes the relationship with loss. You suffered no injustice when you lost such a brother, but were granted a favor when you were permitted to enjoy the benefit of his love for so long.
He criticizes our accounting methods. It is greedy not to count what has been received as gain, but to count what has been handed back as loss. We should focus on what we received, not what we returned.
Finally, he observes that pleasures all quickly desert us and ebb and fade and are swept away almost before they arrive. But the memory of pleasures is longer lasting and more dependable than their presence.
This suggests that our relationship with the deceased through memory might actually be more stable than our relationships with the living, which are subject to constant change and eventual loss anyway.
Seneca's consolation is challenging because it demands we abandon conventional emotional responses in favor of rational acceptance. It's not about suppressing feelings, but redirecting them toward gratitude, duty, and philosophical understanding.
What makes this text enduringly relevant is how it addresses the fundamental human struggle with mortality and loss through practical wisdom rather than empty comfort. Thanks for exploring these profound insights with us today.